Hey,
Hey everyone,
hey
how you all
Xiao.
doing?
Hey
Hey
everyone.
Yassine, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, well,
What about you?
yeah, it's great. Good. Yeah, so I guess firstly, big thank you for Rendance and ESI for organizing this. We're super excited to be here as part of this presentation for everyone. And I thought to kick things off, Yassine and I would probably just like to do an introduction and just share more about ourselves and the firms that we work for, and then also go. We've got a presentation for everyone to run through today that we're happy to basically go through, and then both Yassine and myself will be discussing both points and any specifics around the presentation together. So just on my side, just to introduce myself first, my name's Sean. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Talon Esports. Talon Esports is a esports platform, and we have a bunch of different business lines, including team management, a creative studio, and an academy. We manage about 7 professional teams in 5 different markets, and one of the most prominent teams and discussions and teams that we've built is our League of Legends team, which we recently partnered with PSG, and that team is now branded as Talon PSG, and we'll be doing a lot of discussions around that today, sort of around the partnership and what that's involved with. So that's it from my side. And Yassine will introduce himself now. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Yassine, and basically I'm in charge of the esports strategy for Paris Saint-Germain Esports. My goal is to work closely with those partners such as Shan and trying to like develop our brand into esports. And I've been doing that for more than 3 years now, and I think that that's great for esports, and we are always trying to improve and do better. So so yeah, thanks for inviting me to to the talk also, and I'm happy to share this with Sean. And I have like a presentation that I think it would be cool to show you guys. So to give you a little bit overview about like what's Paris Saint-Germain as a football club first, the brand diversification around it, where esports is part of it, and then a few slides about esports and those partnerships. So yeah, PSG has, if there is any football fans, is one of the most successful European club. Basically because we won a lot of trophies, and especially the French league almost every year, I would say. And yeah, one of the main thing that made us famous was investing in those superstars of today, such as Neymar, Mbappe, and other club and other players. So I'm sorry. Um, then the values of Paris were very important for us, with the style, the romance, everything romantic. You know that, Sean, right? The
Yeah.
beauty of Paris and France, and the passion. Also, part of that brand diversification that I was talking about, there is a lot of stuff going on the fashion side, a lot of activation around, uh, let's say, collection with Rolling Stones, for example, such as the presentation, or Manish Arora, who is like a famous Indian designer, Cochet also, who is a famous French designer. So basically, we're just trying to go out of only a football brand and going into a more global brand. And esports is part of that. We're gonna see it right after. Also the pop culture with bunch of famous artists wearing the PSG brand, doing that collaboration also with Jordan, who've been doing a lot of noise in the world, I would say. So yeah, pop, like just the following of what I was saying basically, and then the esports one with yeah, three three main factor I would say, who are like growing the fan base of like PSG brand, and also getting those brands from the esports side, um, engagement unique through those markets that we target. So China with PSG LGD, uh, Southeast Asia with PSG Talon, and then we have some other games that we like do ourselves without any partner. We would see that just after, but basically we are on 5 titles today: FIFA, FIFA Online, Dota. League of Legends and Brawl Stars. Um, then the social media reach of PSG Esports. So we are the let's say the most followed esports division of a football club. Uh, just after we got FC Barcelona, who I think they are on Rocket League and PES. Uh, Ajax Esports, who are on FIFA if I'm not wrong. Schalke, who are on League of Legends and PES, FIFA also. So basically, when we combine all our esports networks, we are the most followed one. And then this is the most important slide of the deck with Talon and his team. Sean, I would let you introduce your League of Legends team and what they have been doing since the beginning, I would say, of the
Sure.
PCS.
Yep. I'll talk a little bit more about the previous stuff as well. So firstly, I think the strategy that PSG has taken in APAC is incredibly smart. The total esports market in Asia actually represents a significant chunk of the global esports market. I think it's almost 50, 60% plus. And I think from a brand diversification point of view for PSG to go into markets like Dota 2 in China, for League of Legends within sort of this SEA region with Brawl Stars. I think that's incredibly intelligent simply because of the fact that here in Asia we have huge football fans. You look at markets like China, Hong Kong, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia. These are huge markets where football is incredibly popular. And I think the fact that PSG has been super open with basically pushing the brand out in these markets, I think it's a very smart strategy and it's very forward thinking compared to a lot of the other football teams. And I think just also talking about what Yassine mentioned around some of the fashion and pop culture, I think that's also really important within our region. And as part of the partnership, we can talk a little bit more in detail because, street fashion, streetwear, the Air Jordan brand, all incredibly strong sort of values that, a lot of the esports audience people hold within sort of the young demographics that we have within our region. And so I think that's also very powerful because of the brand recognition that that brings. And also, it steps outside of esports, right? We're looking at more at fashion, look at pop culture, and I think that's really relevant and really helped with building the brand. So, just to talk a little bit about the PCS was formed in November of last year as a consolidation of two major leagues. Firstly, the LMS, which was originally Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Macau, and the LST, which was a lot of the Southeast Asian countries. So I think it was a very smart move from Riot to bring these two regions together, simply because it just creates a larger audience and more opportunities from marketing, sponsorships, as well as just the audience perspective, which I think is super exciting. So we joined the league as of sort of November last year. So we went through a long process of getting accepted, and we started building the team. And I think our objective coming into the PCS was to win as many titles as we can, and really shake up the scene and bring a level of competitiveness, not just locally, but also internationally. Right? I think our regions have been underperforming globally for a very long time. If you look at Worlds from 2019, a lot of our teams went 0-6 in stages, or 3-6. I think J Team did a little bit better. But we want to bring the global recognition back. Taipei Assassins actually won Worlds in season 2 or 3. I can't remember now, but that's the type of glory that we wanted to bring back. So we invested a lot of time into building out the scouting network, building out the performance network, getting our coaches in place. And in the meantime, we were talking with PSG around sort of the branding of this team. And I think one of the key things that really resonated with us is the performance side. PSG is a very, very driven club to win. And you can see, as Yassine mentioned, the amount of trophies that they've won domestically. And obviously the Champions League is a big focus for them as well. And so for us, that was exactly the same thing, right? There was a clear alignment in values that at Talon here, we wanted to win. And that was the most important thing. And we felt like with the network that PSG has, the expertise, that there was a clear alignment of sort of what our thinking and process was, and I think that was really important for us because without that, I think it just wouldn't work. And PSG were very dedicated in our conversations with them around supporting the team and growing the team together. Which once again, we didn't want to just get a logo slapped onto our jersey and hope that kind of works out. There's huge partnership discussions that are ongoing that we're looking to develop and further develop into the future, which is super exciting. And so once we built the team,
Yeah,
we joined the we were lucky we won the spring split. It was a pretty crazy series. We played almost more games in the final series in the regular season. We then went to the MSS, which was because we qualified for the MSI. The MSI was obviously cancelled this year due to the coronavirus situation. But we were able to play a tournament with Vietnam, and basically were able to win that as well. We were successful in winning that tournament. So 2 tournaments in a very short period of time, 6 months. And now we are focused on winning the spring split, which we're currently in the semi-final on the winner's side, and to qualify for Worlds. And I think once we get to Worlds, there's going to be a lot of exciting opportunities that we'll be working with ESG as well in regards to activations for a lot of different brands, which we're super excited about. And yeah, that's kind of how it's all come together. And we're super excited to be working with ESG on the League of Legends side.
Definitely, and just to add about what you were saying about the region and everything, this is the main, like the most important reason that I moved here in the region and be close to you guys, also to be able to help more. I think that like what we've done so far, even if it's pretty early to say, is already great, because we will see, what we get out of it in a few next month, and hopefully we can get the team qualified for the Worlds. Then definitely it's gonna be another galaxy for for the partnership. But very happy to work with you. Just wanted to take the opportunity to say that. And basically, that it was not our first, let's say, try with League of Legends. We've been doing League of Legends back in the days in 2016 when we launched the PSG Esports project. And I do have that video announcement that we did, and I wanted to show it if you don't mind.
Heads up high, falling from the sky, it is time for a magic trick. Brace yourself. We are standing to dream bigger. Ring the bell. The time is now. We are gathering as one. Lights and shadows sitting in the darkness. We are rising from the ground. Let them know, leave no doubt. We are looking for you. We are ready. We are Paris.
Yeah, so that was the League of Legends team we had in 2016 when we tried to make it into the LCS Europe back in the days, because it was not the ESI yet. And that's like was a big failure back in the days, because we was learning about esports basically, but definitely about LoL specifically. And that's where we took the decision to go on Dota, and like focus on those regions where we knew we had like PSG fans, and we wanted to engage more with them. But with only the football side, it was very hard to engage, because basically you have only one football team who's playing the league the whole year in Europe, in France, and they can travel like once a year for a quick amount of time, and it has to be a region different region every year. So basically, sports was the best case to to have somebody or a team locally, and engage more with the fans. So that's on the deck. That's the story so far of PSG Sports, and a bunch of players that we have on FIFA, Brawl Stars, the different region, and yeah, then you can see the PCS one with you guys. But by that and showing that video, I just wanted to show that we can improve even when we don't have like ideas, or even if we don't have like specific plan at the beginning. We failed on that project, but then it gave us like every tools to succeed on other ones. And I think that now getting back to League of Legends with you was the best thing to do, So then how just like all the trophies that PSG Esports have won, and that's the end of the presentation, basically.
Yeah, I'd like to actually just talk a little bit more about sort of where the partnership comes together and the specific areas, which I think is interesting probably for a lot of people. So there are four sort of main pillars that I would say that we're working with PSG on. Firstly, one of the main pillars is on the commercial side, and what I mean by the commercial side is really about partnerships and sponsorships, and basically the for us to be able to reach sort of brands that we want to talk to. So, part of the thought process around working with PSG we thought was incredibly powerful was the ability to tap networks that usually aren't exactly always accessible by esports teams, particularly ones that are sort of at the growth stage. And so, having recently, had more conversation with PSG teams, we think it's super exciting that, they've been able to introduce us to many brands which are within the non-endemic gaming space. Right? For us, talking to the Logitechs, the Twitches, and things like that, it's not as difficult, but reaching those global brands, like that are globally recognized and basically are looking at esports, working with the PSG team directly in Singapore as well as in Paris has been incredibly powerful. And I think that's something that has been really important as part of the partnership. As we look to grow, we want to continue to invest in the squad, whether it be facilities, players. A lot of Taiwanese players end up going to the LPL, but can we keep them in our region? Can we be more globally competitive, get the best players here? And I think commercially, if a club is able to be successful, I think that's one of the most key things. And I think that's a very powerful sort of layer to the partnership that we've had with PSG. Secondly, on the marketing and social media side and content side, I think it's also very, very powerful. As you've seen mentioned, PSG is one of the most followed esports teams globally as a football club, and we're going to continue to grow with them. And there's also, a lot of discussions around full integration into the PSG brand, which I think is also super exciting. And I think out of all the clubs in sort of globally, they're one of the most open in regards to this, and we have consistent conversations with the team in Paris and in Singapore around how we can further develop and integrate our social media and kind of be like kind of one big unit. And I think that's also been very important. Content side, there's a lot of opportunities as well. We are actually invited to Paris at least once or twice a year to go through performance stuff, which I'll talk a little bit later. But during that time, there's a lot of content opportunities that we can film at the stadium, with in Paris and all bits and pieces. And I think that's also incredibly powerful when you talk to brands from a partnership point of view, because there's a lot of opportunities where they want to be able to access and tap that, and PSG are actually very forthcoming and open around that, which I think is also incredibly forward thinking from their team. Um, I also want to talk about merch and sort of the opportunities that we have there. I think, firstly, just with the logo that we've been able to design together with PSG, with the two that we have one with the Talon logo on top and one with the Talon logo wrapped around the PSG logo. I think once again, very forward thinking, progressive. We've got really cool combined logo, I feel, and there's actually a lot of opportunities for us to work on. Obviously, the performance side with the jerseys that are available there and all the kits with Air Jordan and Nike, which is super exciting for our region, given that PSG as a fashion statement within Southeast Asia. They have shops in Korea, they have shops in Japan, and even here in Hong Kong, I see a lot of people walking around with PSG jerseys and gear and Air Jordan gear. And for us to be able to do a lot of those things, I think is incredibly powerful because of the fact that streetwear and street fashion is very big in Asia, and the Air Jordan and the Paris brand actually represent something that's very strong. Further to that, there's actually a lot of opportunities from our side on non-performance gear to have a look at merchandise. So, if we want to create streetwear when it comes to like more street-focused t-shirts or hoodies or things like that, there's a lot of opportunities that we have, and we're going to be exploring those opportunities and see what we can push and develop. And I think that's also incredibly powerful from our perspective as a branding point of view, because the Talon brand, while it's strong in Asia, obviously we're nowhere near the level of an Air Jordan or Paris that PSG has, and they've been incredibly successful with that partnership. And being able to leverage a lot from that, I think, is really important, and also allows for our club to continue to grow and develop sort of additional opportunities, which is exciting. And on the last side is more around the performance, and I think that's one of the key things that is very fundamentally key here at Talon. We are a very driven club and very focused club around delivering championships. And once or twice a year, as I mentioned, we do get to go to Paris and we do get to do knowledge share with a lot of the back end staff with PSG around how they run a club, how they run, you know, the soccer players, how they manage sleep, how they manage food, how they manage performance, and the systems and tools and processes they have in place there. I think that's very important for us here at Talon because we're a performance orientated club, and to be able to learn from traditional sports and sports is really important because I feel like there's a lot of similarities between esports and sports in regards to how clubs are managed from the performance side. It's all about scouting, developing, and retaining talent, and making the most of that talent when you have it inside the club. And so, being able to work with PSG on that, I think, is incredibly powerful. And there's a lot of different opportunities there, which I think we can be really beneficial for us, where we can continue to step up and widen the gap between our competition within PCS and potentially catch up with top teams, the LCK, the LPL, LEC or LCS, right? Other competitive regions. So being able to leverage a lot of that is really important. And myself, who's coached semi-professionally in Australia, I think besides from the physical aspect, which is obviously nowhere near as intense, the whole management of how you look after players and go through the year and sort of manage what they eat, they drink, they sleep, and their load and stress management. I think that's something we as esports organizations can continuously improve and can learn a lot from traditional clubs because they've been doing that for decades, whereas many esports clubs have only been doing it for the last several years. So I think it's really important to take that knowledge away. We want to take our coaches, our League of Legends coaches, to Paris to sit down and watch and learn and see how it's done at the highest level and basically take those lessons away and apply it to the, the League of Legends and esports side of things here at Talon.
Yeah, you resumed everything basically, so it's really taking the best out of everyone, like from both sides. So helping you guys with the sports experience that we have, because you was talking a lot about the football team, but there is also the judo team. So there is other like division of the club where there is also some stuff to learn about them, and we definitely have esports also talking about like judo, but we do have also handball team, and yeah, the best of out of everyone, and to make the League of Legends team even like stronger, and give them tools that they could not get, like let's say just by having like an esports traditional team around them, or any other organization. So yeah, basically you resumed everything. Thanks, man.
No. Yeah.
We still have some time. I don't know if you wanna talk about something else. Like for example, I got a lot of people asking me always the same question. It's like, how did you make like this partnership with Talon? Like how we met and everything. So maybe we can
Yeah,
share a
I
little bit
mean,
about the stories.
yeah, that was super interesting, right? Because it kind of came out of nowhere, and it was,
Yeah,
I think I was
definitely.
in Bangkok at that stage for our ROV team with Garena, and Alan, who's a good friend of ours at Garena, was like, I had a meeting with him just to talk about the upcoming season. He's like, hey Sean, like, can you hang out for another hour? I was like, man, it's 5 o'clock in Bangkok. It's peak hour time. I can't get home. So I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. He's like, he goes, trust me, it will be worth it. It will be worth it. So I'm like, okay, sure, no worries. So, went downstairs, chilled at the Starbucks for a bit, and then he came back upstairs to the greener offices. And he was like, oh, here's Yassine from PSG Esports. And I thought, wow, like this is definitely super interesting. And I think, obviously you guys met at Worlds the year before, right? And so we were having a discussion just at a high level about what our club represents and what we aim for. And I think that was great. And then we had a quick chat then, and then the next day we actually went over to our gaming house in Thailand. I remember, right? And we
Exactly.
sat down and went through the gaming house then, and had a chat with sort of our team in Thailand who looks after Arena or Valor team, sort of the way we're thinking, the way we're developing in that region. And I think that kind of just evolved into League of Legends. And I think obviously at that stage we were still in the planning stages for League of Legends and kind of contemplating, are we going to get the slot? If we get it, like, Riot approve it. If Riot approves it, then all these things. And so after that, we had we continued our discussions for a period of time, and obviously the whole COVID situation this year has made things a little bit more difficult. But I think we progressed the conversation forward, and it was backwards and forwards, but I think we got there in the end, and I think overall everything has been really positive. But yeah, it was very random how it all came together, right?
Yeah.
Because I had no idea
No,
what the meeting was about. Alan was like, "Come back in an hour," and I'm like, "Mate, it's 5 o'clock. I can't. If I jump in a cab now back to my hotel, I'm stuck in traffic for an hour and a half. So I'm like, it better be worth it." But it's definitely
uh,
worth it.
no, definitely, and even for me because talking about like that specific days, I just went in Bangkok like for some meetings, and Naren is a friend. We've we've been like yeah spending a lot of time in Paris. Last time he was there because of the wars, and he came to Paris, so we had fun. And so when I went to Bangkok, he told me, "Yeah, you should meet Talon. The guys are around." So I said, "Okay, fine, no problem." But basically, the question was coming is like how we met and why do we choose, or you guys choose that. But basically, how did we make this happen? And there is no specific answer. I'm always saying that it's just about like you know the feeling also, and how we just like thought about like things normally seeing esports in the same way, and basically that's how we start like relationship with our partners, and it have been the same basically with LGD. Like we had bunch of opportunities, but LGD was let's say looking at esports such as we do. So that's the most important thing. It's not because you guys like won the MSS or the split, because basically we've been talking about this. I think it was like in November or December,
Hmm.
something like that. So even before the start of the season. So at the end, it wasn't wrong even on my side or your side. I knew that it would be a perfect fit, and I think it's important to say it. It's not because you guys won the MSS or did great in the first season, because even before the start of the first season, we knew that we was going to work together, and just sometimes we cannot explain, I would say, but
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty
think
funny.
definitely. Yeah, I think definitely the value side is really important, and I think that was the reason why we had such positive conversations going throughout the sort of discussions as we're developing everything. And I think that's important for us, and you know having a mindset around orientated towards winning and improving in performance and professionalizing sort of way teams are run to the same level as traditional sports teams. I think is really important for us, and I think the drive to win, and I think that comes from PSG all the way to the
Oh,
CEO, right? There's just
definitely.
a very strong focus on delivering championships because performance is everything. And for me, I completely agree. People remember who came first, not second or third or fourth and fifth, and not wasn't the only thing, as Yassine mentioned. But I think it's just the orientation and the alignment of the way we think is really important, and sort of the philosophy and culture at a club. At Talon, we set the objectives every single year, and across all our teams, it's always championships, 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 right? There is no, hey, finish second, finish third, finish fourth. That's not our focus. It's always been about winning. So, and I think
Definitely.
Paris has exactly the same mindset. You look at the way they go into League One every single year, the Champions League, the way they orientate that squad and the way it's focused on. I think there was a lot of, and that probably translates across all their sports, right? The judo, the handball, the women's team, and we want to represent that same philosophy and thinking as well. So I think that's one of the things that really drew us together and also made the conversation super easy to be able to align all those things.
Definitely. And yeah, just last fact before we end this, like the PSG Taran team on the PCS is like are in the semifinals, and the football team also on the Champions League is in the semifinals. So hopefully we can win both. It would be great for ending
Fingers
this
crossed.
summer. Fingers crossed, definitely. And thanks again to ESI and to all the sponsors and Redentes and everybody who make this happen. Um, Thanks to you also for explaining magnificent the partnership between each other, and I hope that you get a nice day today.
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate you guys listening in. And of course, if there's any questions,
you.
feel free to shoot it over to us as well. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.